My name is Ray Hammond, and I love J. Ross TV.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Jay
Shablam.
Ross, hanging out with the dude, man. Ray Hammond, y'all know him, man. He front of the house, man. He the sound man to the stars, man. And they in St. Louis hitting at the Fox Theater with the commission tour. And want to shout out to Ray for always looking out for me. Hey, Ray, but I be thinking like sound cats. Y'all always take the brunt when something ain't right. Sound man suck. But like growing up and you get into sound, what was inside you made you want to go sound?
Well, I didn't start out sound. I started out tech. And the big thing was I was really just trying to hang out with my big brother.
Simple as that.
As simple as that. He was older. Fred is older than me by maybe 5 or 6 years, which is significant at 18.
Right.
And he's 18 and I ain't.
Yeah.
So, he's not wanting me to hang because the age gap is too far.
Right.
So I found a way. I figured that if I could carry his gear, I could hang, and it was a win-win.
Yeah.
He needed somebody to carry the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then I learned to tech it. So I carried it in first. Then I learned how to fool with a little PV combo, something with a Black Widow speaker in it. And I learned to, set his bass up, dial it in for him. And then, and it took a little effort for him. And then I could hang with him. I get in the car and go wherever he was going. So that was that deal, brother.
Yeah. So now as you start teching for him, like, was it like anybody who gave you advice, or did you do on-the-job training flat out?
That's a yeah, no. Back when I was doing that, there was no black people that I knew doing that.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Man.
It was dominated by white engineers, and I just wasn't getting an opportunity. Let me say it that way. Now, I wasn't getting an opportunity. So when I went from teching, I went to driving. I would drive the van for him for commission and groups that he was involved with. I would drive the van. Then the road manager that they had went away, so a slot opened up. They're like, "Can you be the road manager?"
Man.
Yeah. I'll put my hand at that. I worked at that, and then we were at the Sanger Theater in New Orleans, and it was commissioned. I mean, the Winans and commissioned opened for them, and the Winans had a sound guy, and in gospel music, that wasn't heard of. We didn't do stuff like that. We just used whoever was there.
Yeah.
And the Winans came with a sound guy, so they had a sound guy.
Right.
And he was getting their stuff together. They did sound check and they was smacking. So, I told the guys, hey, I'm gonna go out there, and I'll tell the guy what to do, whoever the local guy was,
Right.
to get us through it. And then because commission sung and they shared verses where two guys would sing one verse, it would be too slow for me to call it. Tell the engineer, turn this guy up. So basically what I did was I went out there and I would tell a guy, hey, let me work the faders for the vocals because I know when they're going to sing.
Right.
So that's how I started touching the board.
Oh man.
Then once I did that, I went home and I volunteered with a sound company, it was the only black-owned sound company in Detroit. And he was doing like Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Oh yeah.
That was my first show, and I just volunteered. I said, "Hey man, you ain't got to pay me. Just let me go in and let me learn." So he said, "Okay, cool." I did the first show. It was like I said, it was Harold Melvin and Blue Notes. I started as a monitor guy,
Right.
and when I got finished with the show, the dude said, "Hey, we're gonna move you to front of house, and we're gonna pay you."
Man.
I was like, what? Yeah, but I was already committed. I didn't care if you paid me or not. I was gonna learn. I wanted to learn how to do it. I was interested, and then I was going to college at the same time. So I got a background in electronics and robotics. So the same theory that operates inside of audio is the same concept in electronics.
Right.
It all worked together. So I understood the premise and knew how to do. I understood it and learned how to do it. So That was that.
Let me ask you this though, Ray. Hey, like when you first doing it, were you ever afraid? You know, like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm stepping out. I'm gonna learn this thing. But how did you have to get past like a fear that you might have had inside of you, and you can tell other cats, man, when obstacles come in their way. Just how do you fight through it and get through it to the next level?
Well, it was like a byproduct of fear, but it wasn't necessarily. I wasn't scared to do it. I was intimidated when I got around people that I knew a lot more than me.
Yeah.
But what I was able to do, what God got me through that, and the way He approached me on that was to learn how to manage my feelings during that time.
Explain that, Ray. I'm lost. You scared me on that one.
That what you're doing is you fighting your own feelings.
Right. That's
your
true.
feelings is making the guys and the people around you didn't do anything different than what they normally do.
Right.
It's how you felt about it.
Right. That's right.
So what I did was I just managed my feelings at home. So I said, calm down. They don't care about what I'm doing. All they want to do is make sure I don't do dumb stuff. And so that's what I did. And then this cat I was at the Dale Theater. It's an outdoor amphitheater, Dale Amphitheater in Philadelphia. And they had, this when the Yamaha PM3000 first came out. And that dude showed me one thing, and that was input structure. Mm-hmm. And I'd dial in gain. People always gain the things, how super hot and this and that and this and that. He said, you got to find the sweet spot in the gain and then work from that rather than turning a bunch of knobs before you even get into it. So that's where I learned that gain. I learned the gain structure, and then I learned how to put together the process, the chain from here to them speakers. Y'all can't see those speakers, but they up there. From here to them speakers, I learned all the process on how that gets there and comes out this speaker. Yeah. And how to manipulate it.
But what about like when you do in front of the house for multiple acts? Do you have to do your ear? I know you can't hear the same thing. So how do you kind of dial in for different bands?
I let the music talk to me.
Explain that a little bit.
Meaning when they start playing, I'm listening to what they do. And then I approach it from how that music is speaking to me.
Yeah.
And then, having it's not all about me. It's about the patrons, the people, the ticket buyers. So I'm trying to make it to where it's a pleasurable experience for them as well.
Right.
So I find the root in the music and then work from there. And then put the sweet stuff around the edges and that vocal. I come from my brother's a vocal.
Yes, sir.
I come from making sure that vocal is sticking out. So I know how to do that.
Yeah. Well, can you give me an example of like one time where you just messed up, man, when things just wasn't going right, man? No matter what you did, it didn't go right. How did you get through that particular show or concert or
I gotta think
service?
About that. I gotta think.
So you ain't never messed up?
I messed up plenty of times. but I always I'm gonna be spiritual here.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit always led me to get to that. Even when I was doing music that was non-Christian, he just said, calm down and work forward. Let the process do its thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I messed up plenty of times. I come out of a show and I was like, man, I stunk that room up tonight. Mm-hmm. And then I've talked to people right after that show and it was like, no, it was great. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so, but okay. So I've always...
Hold on. So in that, do you go home and then you do that, like get on your nerves at night? You like, man, I messed up. I got to do better tomorrow. And you ever like go mess with your equipment and say, I'm not going to mess up again?
No. What I do is I'll make mental notes of what I did wrong and say, okay, I'm not doing it next time. So I will think about it. I don't really beat myself up. I don't dwell on it, but I think about it and I'll make notes so that next time I touch that console, I'll make changes from what I remembered from the last show. Yeah. Before we do anything else, I'll go back and make all those changes. Yeah. This is a commission show. I did that from Columbus to here. We were in Columbus last Saturday. I made notes on what I was going to do, what I didn't like, and then move from there.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, last question. Once again, we hanging out in St. Louis at the fabulous Fox Theater with my guy, Ray Hammond, y'all, front of the house cat for the commission tour. Hey, Ray, but like, man, you look at all these knobs and people screaming and they hollering, man. I mean, can you give a feel to like young cats who might want to do what you're doing? Mm-hmm. Can you give them any advice on how to be strong and not give up?
Wowzer.
Because you didn't give up.
Nah.
Even when things were going bad, you fought through. But see, a lot of cats don't have that kind of backbone or mental acumen to fight through.
Okay. So what I would say is this, is that if you're doing it if you're doing this to make money, you could get derailed from disappointments. I was never doing it about the money. I told you at the beginning of this conversation, I was doing it to be with my brother.
Simple.
It was simple. And that goal was attainable. It was easy. I didn't have to be excellent to be with him. All I had to do was carry that gear in. So the thing is if you're doing it because you love, you got a love for this, you'll find your way through it. Even through the disappointments, even with, because sometimes somebody's going to shut you down. You know what I'm saying? They're going to shut you down.
For real?
Yeah. I've went and done shows where I got spanked. The dude that came after me, that mixed after me, killed me. But I didn't let that discourage me. I use it to make me better.
Yeah.
I watched him. I said, let me see what he did, and then implement the things that he's doing into my style without changing my style. But I implement what he's doing. I was like, I look at it, like typically before I go out to do, if we're opening, or if we're not opening, but if we're on a show with other people, and whoever's in front of us, I usually creep out there near the end of their performance and listen to what they're doing and watch the people. Oh, okay, cool. It either gonna work or it ain't gonna work. So if he's doing something that's stinking the room up, all I gotta do is don't do that. And that's simple. That's easy. Or if he's doing something that I like, I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna implement that. Another quick thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We did a show in 1998 called Power 98. And what? Power 98? Yeah, Power 98. And we were on the show with Hezekiah Walker, Karen Clark, and all these other people. And Hez had he used the systems tech that came with the PA for that tour. He used him as his mixer, and my mix style back then, because I was mixing so many records, I would make it sound like a CD. It would sound exactly like the CD. And then I listened to what he was doing. He made it sound live, and I was like, I'm gonna use some of that. And I implemented it to my style, and I think it made me better. But I listened to somebody that because back then Hez came on in front of us, I think, on that show, and I should have been, I could have held myself in a position where it's like, hey, they need to be doing what we're doing. No, what he was doing was right, and Hez was banging, and the crowd was jumping. I was like, I need to do what he's doing.
So it was humility.
Yeah.
You humbled yourself.
I was like, man, I'm gonna learn. Forget that.
Yeah, but hey, can the average person hear the difference between the live and the CD when you mix in?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's from the experience.
Can you feel it?
It's a feeling. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be the experience that they work from. Not necessarily judging between live and that. It's just the way I made the approach, the way the drums sound versus tucking them. Like on the record, we're gonna tuck them back. You gonna put things in their proper perspective. But when he mixed live, he had the drums ripping and the toms stuck out. And then that choir was blazing, but it sounded live rather than me making it sound like a CD. I changed my approach, and I've never went back. I still use some of my same approaches to making it sound like a CD, but I took his live parts and started adding them in there. And then I watched the people, man. They let you know when it's too loud. They let you when it's not loud enough.
Yeah.
They let you know when they can't hear the keyboards. You just watch them.
Yeah.
Watch them. So then as I learned to experience the music like their experiences, when the keyboard part is coming up and I know it's coming up, I'm accentuated. So that don't mean always. I got this term called negative mixing. Sometimes it don't mean turning up something. It means turning down something so something else sticks out.
Got you.
You keep pushing the faders up, you're gonna run out of headroom at some point.
Yeah.
At some point you went too far.
Yeah.
So I'll bring the band down and turn the keyboard up at the same time to where you don't hear the band go down, you just hear the keyboard come up.
Right.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, y'all, that's words of wisdom. That's knowledge you can use from the cat, y'all. We hanging out with Ray Hammond. We in St. Louis at the Fox Theater, getting ready for the commission throwdown, y'all. He gonna do the front of the house. So if you hear a lot of mic squeaking and stuff,
it's the monitor guy, not me. Never me. You print that, make sure you show that.
Yes, sir.
It's always the monitor guy, never me.
All right, that's Ray Chew, y'all. This is your boy Jay Ross. We 10 million strong and we gone. Peace.
Peace, bro.